From one bar of signal to becoming the world's #1 YouTuber. If your dreams are bigger than your circumstances, never let your circumstances win. That night, heavy rain poured down on a small village that didn't even appear on most tourist maps. In a modest house with worn-out walls, a 15-year-old boy sat in the corner of his room holding an old smartphone with a cracked screen. He stared at the screen hopefully. Loading. Then it stopped. Loading. It stopped again. The video he wanted to watch had not even played for 5 seconds. Internet access in his village was unreliable. Sometimes there was a single bar of signal, then nothing for hours. For most people, it was just a minor inconvenience. But for a teenager named Arga, the internet was more than entertainment. It was a window to his dreams. And that night, without realizing it, his journey was just beginning. Since childhood, Arga loved making people laugh. He often imitated his teachers, told funny stories to his friends, and recorded simple videos using his mother's borrowed phone. His friends would always say, "Your videos are funny, Gar." But Arga never dared to dream too big. How could he? He came from a family that struggled financially. His father worked as a daily laborer. His mother sold fried snacks. Some days, their income was only enough to cover dinner. Buying an expensive camera? Impossible. Buying a laptop? Out of the question. Even purchasing internet data required careful consideration. One day, while waiting for a signal on a hill near his village, Arga found a video about a famous creator who had transformed his life through YouTube. The final sentence of the video stayed in his mind: "Don't wait for the best equipment. Start with what you have." That night, Arga couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about those words. The next morning, he made a decision that would change his life. "I'm going to become a YouTuber." Everyone laughed. His friends said, "You? With that phone?" His neighbors said, "You'd be better off finding a real job." Even some relatives thought he was daydreaming. But Arga simply smiled. Because, quietly, he had already begun. Every day after school, Arga walked nearly 2 kilometers to a hill that had the most stable signal. That was where he learned. He watched editing tutorials. He learned how to create thumbnails. He learned how to speak confidently in front of a camera. He studied algorithms. He practiced storytelling. Sometimes a 10-minute tutorial took an hour to load. Still, he waited. Sometimes his phone battery died before the video finished. He recharged it and started again. Many people would have quit because of the difficulties. Arga turned those difficulties into teachers. 6 months later, he uploaded his first video. The title was simple: "A Day Without Internet." The video received 17 views. 11 of them were from family members. Arga was still happy. Because to him, 17 views meant that 17 people had taken time out of their day to watch something he created. He kept making videos. The second video got 23 views. The third got 12. The fourth only 5. But he didn't stop. 1 year passed. His channel was still small. It wasn't making money. It wasn't famous. It hadn't gone viral. But one thing had changed. His skills were improving rapidly. He became a better storyteller. More confident on camera. More creative in finding ideas. While many people were merely dreaming about success, Arga was quietly building the foundation for it. One day, something happened that nearly made him quit. His phone broke completely. The screen went black. The camera no longer worked. All his recordings were trapped inside. That night, he cried. Not because he had lost a phone. But because he felt he had lost his dream. For several days, he stopped creating videos. His motivation collapsed. Then one evening, his mother sat beside him. "Why did you stop?" she asked. Arga looked down. "I don't have any equipment anymore, Mom." His mother smiled. Before you had equipment, what did you start with? Arga was silent. A borrowed phone. Exactly, she replied. Then it wasn't the equipment that brought you this far. She gently placed a hand on his shoulder. What brought you here was your determination. Those words awakened something inside him. Arga began taking part-time jobs after school. Helping neighbors. Carrying goods. Cleaning storage rooms. Anything that could earn him money. After months of saving, he finally bought a second-hand smartphone that was slightly better. Not the best. But enough to continue his journey. And he started creating videos again. Years passed. Slowly, his channel grew. 100 subscribers. 500 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers. 10,000 subscribers. Then 100,000 subscribers. When he received his first YouTube award, he stared at it for a long time. Not because of its value. But because it reminded him of the little hill where he used to search for a signal. But the road to the top was still long. As his channel grew, new challenges appeared. Competition. Criticism. Negative comments. False accusations. Some people even claimed his success was nothing but luck. At first, Arga felt angry. Hurt. Disappointed. But eventually, he realized something. People who spend their time criticizing are not necessarily more capable than those who spend their time creating. From that moment on, he stopped focusing on the noise around him. He focused on improving his content. Every new video had to be better than the last. Every mistake had to become a lesson. Every failure had to become an opportunity to learn. He built a small team. He learned leadership. He studied business. He embraced technology. He learned how to connect with audiences around the world. His content began attracting global viewers. Millions of people knew his name. Tens of millions subscribed to his channel. Then came the video that changed everything. It took nearly a year to prepare. Many people thought the idea was too ambitious. Too expensive. Too risky. But Arga believed in it. When the video was finally released, the world was stunned. Within days, it broke multiple records. Hundreds of millions of views. Then billions. His name became known across the globe. Several years later, an official announcement was made. Arga had become the YouTuber with the largest subscriber count in the world. Number 1. The highest peak that had once seemed impossible. International media outlets came to interview him. Many people asked, "What is the secret to your success?" They expected him to talk about marketing strategies, algorithms, technology, business tactics. But his answer was simple. I never waited for perfect circumstances before I started. The room fell silent. Arga continued. I didn't have a good camera. I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have reliable internet. I didn't have money. But I always had one thing. The willingness to try again tomorrow. After the interview, Arga returned to his village. He went back to the hill where he once searched for a signal. The hill was still the same. The wind still blew gently. The grass still swayed peacefully. He stood there looking at the sky. Remembering the long road he had traveled. Thousands of failures. Hundreds of rejections. Nights filled with doubt. Days filled with struggle. And yet, none of them had been obstacles. They had been stepping stones. At the height of his success, Arga founded a free digital learning center for children in rural communities. He provided internet access, computers, training programs, and opportunities. Because he knew exactly what it felt like to have a big dream but very limited resources.
Whenever a child asked, "Can someone from a simple background really succeed?" Arga would smile. Then he would answer, "Success doesn't ask where you come from. Success asks how long you're willing to keep going." And that is the greatest lesson from Arga's story. Not about becoming the world's #1 YouTuber. Not about millions of subscribers. Not about fame. But about having the courage to begin when circumstances are far from ideal. Because often, what separates dreams from reality is not talent, not money, not connections. It is the ability to keep moving forward when results are still nowhere in sight. If today you feel behind, limited by circumstances, or lacking opportunities, remember this. The people who succeed are not always the ones who have the best starting point. More often, they are simply the ones who refuse to quit. And perhaps, just like Arga standing on that small hill years ago, the dream you are carrying today is the beginning of an extraordinary story that will one day inspire the world.